oportunidade, né, de termos professores internacionais em 2 painéis. Professor Michael, thanks to accept our invitation. You are welcome. I want to introduce Professor Mielke for you. He's a manager of Deutsche Bank and professor in the Kohl University in Germany, president of Germany Society Information Quality. He is also associate researcher in MIT Information Quality Group. He received the award for outstanding contribution on the field on information quality. And nós temos também o professor Massada, que, como é brasileiro, vou apresentá-lo em português. Acho que vocês já o conhecem. Ele é da Universidade Federal do Rio Grande do Sul, da área de sistemas de informação. Ele também é o coordenador do programa de pós-graduação da nossa escola de administração na universidade. Meu colega até de disciplinas, né, da qual o professor Michael contribuiu o semestre passado com um curso de um dia lá em Porto Alegre. Well, Professor Michael, the audience is yours.
Thanks to Angela and Antonio for the invitation, and welcome, bon dia. That's almost everything, I know, except of obrigado, and probably some more words, but I can't make this presentation fluently in Portuguese, or Brazilian, I should say. I want to show you some ideas and slides about information quality, and first question is, someone here already working in the field of information quality? No? But at least you show your interest, so that's fair enough to get into. Let's see. Yeah. So what's information quality about? It's, first of all, not an information systems issue. So anyone here who will expect something like a tool that probably solves all problems, it's the wrong presentation. So you may look for something else. Because first of all, it's about information and communication within a company. It's about the information flow, so how the information got processed through the processes within a company. It's about requirements due to information. Maybe you have some requirements, but probably most of you, which is common sense today, and also which is probably the problem or the source of our problems, is we haven't documented those requirements we have to the information. So you may expect your information coming to you complete, in time, but what does that mean? What's complete? What's in time? So those kinds of requirements needs to be discussed and documented. It's about decision-making within a company. It's about analysis, reports, quality requirements. It's about behavior, how people behave within a company due to work with information. Do they really care about the quality, or do they don't care about the quality? Let's assume a typical situation like you pay someone for the amount of entries he is plugging into a system. Then you probably don't care about the quality because he's paid about the amount and not about the quality. So it's a lot about the behavior, how do we behave in terms of quality with information. Then it comes to interfaces, how your interfaces are designed. Do we really take care about the quality of information again, or we do only take care about the technical requirements due to the interface description? This brings us up to SLA, service level agreements. I've seen a lot of service level agreements saying things like, this system needs to be up and running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, that's fine, because that's something I expect it today in terms of technology available. But have you seen something in service level agreements that's stated to data quality in terms of we want to check that the data is processed through the systems carefully, truthfully, completely? It's more than just having systems up and running. It's about the information that is being processed through the systems. And on the bottom line, and that's why I said it's not about IT systems, then we come to things like software design. Is our software designed properly to assure the information quality? Is our database design insane? Is our systems architecture in a modern terms of way? And then it comes to the bits and bytes in terms of really core technology. But most of the things is about behavior, decision, quality management, and that you usually will not find typically in information systems, who are mostly take care of the more technical part of information quality. Here you see some older software messages, and this one I really love. Windows 95 was unable to detect your keyboard. Press F1. So this is also kind of data quality problem, There are some more examples, like this one I really love as well. It's a European example. It happens far away in 1805, so a couple of hundred years ago, when two countries wants to join the forces against Napoleon. And then those two countries decided to join their forces on a field near Bavaria, October 20th. Bad thing was that both countries were using a different calendar system, so there was a delay of 10 days between. So as history shows, Napoleon beats one of the army and moves on. So this data quality problem causes a lot of lives. We even have those things today, or in today's period, when a Mars explorer doesn't explore Mars, because Europeans were calculating in millimeters, and the US guys were calculating in inches. And they don't talk about that. They just assume everyone will know. So the very expensive Mars explorer doesn't really explore Mars. It moves far away from Mars. A friend of mine was trying to fly from Düsseldorf to Berlin and back on one day. So he wants to fly from Düsseldorf 6 o'clock in the morning, and he wants to go back the same day, 5 p.m. Look what the system was showing him and wants him to buy as a ticket. He said, please fly from Düsseldorf 4 p.m. and return the same day, 6 a.m. That's time travel. So you fly back in the afternoon, and you can return the same day in the morning. This obviously doesn't make sense, but the best thing here is, this means book the flight. So if he had pushed that button, he had booked that flight. Can you imagine what happens when you show up at the counter saying, well, that's my flight, I want to fly. And they say, well, your flight is this afternoon. Okay, you fly the afternoon. You want to return the same day. Say, no, your flight has already been gone. You were supposed to fly this morning. Yeah, but I arrived already this afternoon. I can't fly this morning. It's not possible. I wasn't here. So you pay probably again a next ticket. And the system was making this available. Citigroup lost personal data, 3.9 million people, data quality problem. Card systems, 40 million identities has been hacked, data quality problem. If you see such numbers, is there anything you can think of if you see such numbers? Well, the first one, 90, 60, 90, it's metric. And it's either a fax number from a tourist organization, which really is. It may be a part number, but 90, 60, 90 in metric is in Europe the number of dreams in terms of a women's shape. So everyone in Europe, you tell 90, 60, 90 will say, yes, that's a perfect shape for a girl. But it may something else, you know. Next thing, 0815. What may 0815 means to you? Yeah, maybe a time. So our friend there in the back, he would say, well, that's August 15th, obviously. Someone else would say, well, that's 15 minutes past 8 in a metric system. Not in the US system, but because they would expect something like AM or PM due to those numbers. Only in Germany, 0815 has a special meaning. 0815 means something like not really worth talking about. So assume a room, 3 guys sitting in, a German, an American, and someone else. The German would think, 0815, okay, don't care. American would say, well, that's August 15th. And that's all because we haven't talked about the content, the context we were using those information. But all those informations have a specific meaning due to the social environment you are living in. So what those slides should remember you when you finish this presentation is think of the information you are processing if you are processing the information not only within your country, but throughout other countries as well. They might have a different meaning somewhere else. Any idea about the 42? Huh? An H? Oh. Someone read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Oh, that's interesting, because usually I find at least one in a room who has read this book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where 42 means the answer to all questions. So there's also something in this famous fiction book, which is really read by a lot of people around the world, that with 42 you usually find someone saying, yeah, well, that's Douglas Adams, that's the answer to all questions. So you see, you have different kinds of information. It doesn't matter what kind of setup they have, but they may have different. You may have a different view due to your social background to those informations, and that's the thing you really have to take care of. Can you see something on this slide? Well, he can. Okay. What do you see? You see a dog. Someone else seeing a dog on this picture? Okay. So let's make a little exam. Let's make a little research practice. Close your eyes and concentrate really hard so you might not see the dog if you open your eyes up again. Please try. Does it work? No. And that's the reason. When you've seen the dog, you always will see the dog. That's the way our brain is working. You know, you have learned to see the dog. And that's the same thing we address problems we discover within our company. You see a problem, you immediately have an idea how to solve it. It may be the right solution, it may be not. So this picture should remind you, if you see a problem within your company due to data quality problems, processing problems, or whatever, try to make a different view on that. Try to see something else than this damn dog again. Maybe that's the real solution to the problem instead of the one you see in first sight. Because we always act that way. And that's usually the problem why we can't really solve problems on a long term. Little question to you. How much money you are willing to spend to buy the information about the lottery numbers that will make you win the jackpot next Saturday if you would get those information exclusively? And if it's not a joke, it's real. Anyone here who would like to buy those information? Huh? Half of the price, okay. More bits? 3/3, okay. You see, there's competition. At least there are math methods to calculate how much money you are willing to spend. So, no question about that. Everyone would spend money to get those information. But what about the information you need to do your job? Anyone here would like to spend some money to get the information the right way from his colleagues to do his job? I suppose no one, because usually everyone would say, no, I don't pay anything. You know, they have to provide the information as I have to provide the information. That's maybe the problem, because no one is really taking care of data quality unless something really certain happens. So one conclusion is information without context has no value at all. Information with context may have value. But information fit for use, so the information in terms of having the right quality to you, whatever quality is, that's the only information that's really valuable. And there's one very short definition of information quality from Richard Wang, Yang Li, and Stuart Maddock from MIT, saying information quality, definition, fairly easy, fit for use. It also shows us the difficulties we have to manage those information quality. If the definition is, should be fit for use, it means, well, it's very individually. It may be you have different requirements than he has, or you have, or someone else. And we all want to have to manage the information in a way everyone could use it. And that's the basic problem in addressing the information quality within a company. So those are the categories that have been invented by the MIT research group due to information quality. We have some categories, we have some dimensions. It all starts here, accessibility. And accessibility is a lot more than a user ID and a password. If you've seen big companies, you have huge group folders, like storage area networks, where some folders are where the information is stored. One common question in those big enterprises is when a colleague asking someone else for information, say, well, you know where this file is? Typically answer is, it's on the group folder. That's the short term of, I don't know where it is. If you find it, send me a copy. So accessibility means a lot more than just a user ID and a password. It means you need to have access to the information you need for your work. It also means access security. And we have spent a lot of money and a lot of effort in access security, but we haven't spent the right amount of money and effort within accessibility yet. Because usually we think If the access security is working well, the accessibility is working as well. But it isn't. The amount of information has been growing so much that it's really difficult to find the right information on time you are looking for. Next step would be, can I interpret it? Is it easy to understand? Is it concise? Is it consistent? And someone here working with SAP systems? Well, you're lucky if you're not working with, even if it's a German product. Because usually a setup means, well, we don't need this consistency analyzer. Why? Because it makes the system slow. So just turn it off. Because the system, the SAP system, takes care of consistency. Oh, well, that's the good news. So switch off the consistency analyzer. Makes the systems fast. And then all the problem starts. Because the software can't handle this. Next step would be contextual information quality. Is it relevant for your work? Does the information add value to your work? Is it timely? Is it complete? What about the amount of information? Timeliness is a very interesting part. In money trading, if you trade money in a bank, currencies like Brazilian real to US dollars, every 3 seconds the quotation changed in money trading. So timeliness in this case means, well, I need this information within 3 seconds. If you make a wire transfer from one account to the other account, well, if that takes 10 seconds, I don't care. So timeliness, you see, within the same branch means totally different things. And also the risk involved is totally different. The risk involved in, well, this wire transfer has taken 12 seconds. It's almost nothing. The risk involved in, well, this quotation has not been updated for the last 12 seconds can mean a huge amount of money to the company in terms of risk. And the last step is it accuracy? Is it objectivity? What's about the believability? What about the reputation? As you can see here, anyone aware of the Maslow pyramid? There's a Maslow pyramid, yeah? Okay. So it's like the Maslow pyramid here as well. You can measure this. You can measure that. You can measure parts of this. But usually the last step, like believability or reputation, I haven't seen any kind of measurement working yet. This is usually a combination. What I've learned in a lot of projects and research is, if you provide me the accessibility, if the information you are providing is complete and timely, at least for the last, or at least for 1 year, I start believing you. So there's a kind of combination between those dimensions you find on the bottom line in terms of the dimensions on the top line, which makes it very difficult to measure that. So those are common problems in an overview. Usually a question is, I can't find the information because it's inconvenient, incomplete, too long, inaccessible, whatever. Solution could be integrate the sources, which is a big project. We heard a lot about integrating sources, but this is really a huge project. I can't trust the information. This usually has an impact too because it's inaccurate, insecure, it's late or inconsistent. Well, you have to check the validity. If the concern is I can't understand the information because it's duplicate, unclear, false, or anonymous, well, you have to provide a context. And duplicates are one of the most common problems. Big enterprises have usually a lot more than only one instance of their database. If they're using ERP systems, if it's SAP or something else, doesn't matter. You usually do not have only one instance, you have a couple of. I know companies with 8 instances of SAP, all different releases. And this is common practice because it's so easy. Just copy some tables, add some tables, and yes, of course, the system is so heavily used, we can't do it within production, so, well, set up a new instance. Make a copy of the old system and then just deploy a new one. And that's the way the duplicates starts within the company. And then the question is, well, which of the values is the right one? Which I can trust? If the question is, I can't use the information, well, it's usually outdated, not applicable, slow, or rigid, well, organized for easy application. This is probably one of the easiest things to do. It's the far right one. So questions are, which data element of the following values is actual? What's the right value? Or how much data within your company is redundant? Is your data actual? Or probably is the worth, this is an interesting question, is the worth of data changing within a life cycle? Yes, it is. You sell something, your client is paying, you do all the accounting. You say, well, this project has ended. Everything's done. Product is delivered, money is received, everything's fine. But 2 weeks later, the IRS department is in your company. Want to see all receipts. So your receipt with a value of almost nothing becomes very worthy. Because if it's not there, well, you are in trouble. So even small information like receipts, receipt numbers, change their value within the life cycle very frequently, which makes it more difficult to manage the information due to managing a usual product, which really has a life cycle. If a usual product like an automobile is at the end of its life cycle, it's at the end. But this has not happened to information. If the information is at the end of this life cycle, there are still issues like IRS or selling the company or calculating the value of a company that makes those information very valuable again. So that's the big difference. And accessibility we talked already about. Well, you see, it's all the same customer, but it has 6 different account numbers. Just assume the following select statement. Due to the question, should we send the BMW guys some invitations to the, here it would be the national team or the horse race in Rio, huh? The horse race in Rio. Should we send them some invitations to the horse race in Rio? Well, if it's a good customer, yes, we should. Okay, just select. Select BMW. Select sales where customer is equal to BMW. 17,000 euro, it's not a big customer. No invitation. Next one. And this is only due to one simple thing. And if you think this is not common, it is. If you look at big company files due to their customer database, there are duplicates more you can think of. So usually, the IT department cannot answer a question like, how many customers we have, how many employees we have, how many sales we have due to a customer. Because it's not unique. They don't have unique identifiers. Let's assume a little project. We have a data warehouse, we have a CRM system, and we are buying some addresses due to the internet. And we checked the quality just by simple statistics. Not big error rates, 35% bad records, 8% duplicates, and so on. So you can calculate the bad records. Assume that for a typically mailing, it's only $2, €2, €2 maybe 4 or 5 rice for each mailing. And this covers only the envelope, the paper, not the process. It sums up to 239,000. You're doing this 4 times a year, which is not a lot. It's close to 1 million. Well, we should have a little project, very little one. So we only reduce the bad records in the data warehouse and the duplicates in the data warehouse, and we don't care about the other problems. Total cost of 135. So we got a cost reduction of 104,000 for each mailing. This is summing up to 400,000 a year. That's a lot of money. So due to an investment of only 200,000, well, that's a return on investment of more than 100%. Amazing. Assuming yourself being the sales manager, well, that's another, how much? That's another 400,000 euro you can spend for other projects instead of wasting them due to bad mailings. What we discovered within the research groups is the relation. Just skip the 08. It's 2 to 1. Whenever you discover a ratio in terms of 2 to 1, in terms of use expenditure relation, go with the project. If it's less than that, find a colleague you really like and hand him over a project, because this project will fail. But if it's a 2 to 1 relationship, it usually works. There are some common mistakes, like you can fix data, or data quality is an IT problem, or the problem is in the data sources or data entry, and so on. We have them here as well. Well, fixing implies that there's something wrong with the original data. And you can fix it once and it be done. Of course you can fix it once, but next day the problem will occur again. So that's the meaning of you cannot fix data quality problems. You have to fix the process to fix the data quality problems. It's not an IT problem, it's a company problem. You need to manage the data. And this is my favorites are, data warehouse will provide a single version of truth. It's a perfect selling argument if you're selling data warehouse products. But it's not really working, because setting up a data warehouse already set up a new version of the truth. The ERP system will provide a single version of truth. Same thing. Or the corporate performance management, same thing. Because there is not one method used to transform the data. It's a bunch of methods that transform the data. Because everyone using the data and transforming it has a different attitude. They are looking for something different, so they're using different methods. That's okay. But knowing this, it also means there is never a single version of truth within the company. So please don't come up with an argument like, this will provide a single version of truth. Because what usually happens is management will recognize that your vision of a single version of truth is not coming up. So, well, they don't start not liking those systems anymore. And as an BI problem is standardization will eliminate the problem of different truths. Not true, because we have a lack of consistency between the data used and the transformations within various tools, because we are using various tools. Tool A has not worked, well, buy tool B. This will help. And at the end, we have data warehouses, ERP systems, CRM systems, another data warehouse, another ERP systems, and a bunch of tools analyzing those data. So, well, it's simple math. You can calculate how many versions of truth you got within your company. So, what do next? We need a communication platform. We usually need something that is very important. We need a glossary for definitions and methods. Very easy way to set up something like a data quality initiative within your company or within companies is set up a glossary. They usually don't have it. You can use wiki systems like Wikipedia systems, something like that, to set up a glossary. To make those definitions available for everyone, makes the methods available for everyone. Well, you need something like a metadata management. You need something most companies don't have, a system overview. If you have a big enterprise and you ask the IT department, can you provide me a system overview of every system you are using within your company? They don't be able to provide that. And they usually are not able to provide the connections, the interfaces between those systems, because it's so much systems today. It's hundreds of systems. And within the last, let's say, 10 years, we lost the documentation of the systems due to some guys of the accounting department telling us we have to save money. So there is no documentation work really done within the last 10 years. So that's one of the problems, and that's one of the issues why we miss those systems overviews. You need an understanding of managing information as a product. And management needs to understand that. You need guidelines and transparency, which is really difficult to set up this into a company, transparency, about who is collecting data, who is transforming data, and who is storing data. Because most of the organizations within the organization don't like one thing, transparency. They hate the IRS, but they don't like the transparency. Because transparency usually means I can see what you are doing. I can get a feeling about the quality of your work. But this is really absolutely necessary to get some information quality within a company. Well, another nice picture. This one, the left one, shows you how our meetings were set up in former days. People were sitting around a fire and talking to each other. And maybe you think, well, what does that mean for us today? It means a lot, because this is still something within our brain. It's hard-coded. But this is a meeting today. First of all, there's no open fire again. But anything else you can see as a difference between this one and this one? Computers, okay? Documentation, okay. Well, let's tell you, I want to tell you what I can see. I can see she's talking, he's dreaming, and he's working on his PC. And all three of them, they think that they have a meeting. It may be documented, but this is not a documentation. You see, he's playing. He's playing on his laptop. So at the end of this meeting, everyone will say, yes, of course, I agree. Okay, go, next meeting. What have we talked about? I don't care. It was just another meeting. When we start information quality projects, we set up a roadmap. Makes it easier for us to manage a project. You maybe learned how to manage projects in various ways, using various tools. I've gone through this for, well, more than 25 years. And tell you what I don't like most is investing a whole weekend to prepare some charts for the next steering committee because line 7,503 has changed within my MS project. And due to this, we developed those roadmap together with some colleagues, saying, well, there should be a way of managing a project using only pen and paper instead of computer systems with hundreds of lines of project lines in MS projects. And we come up with the following idea. Well, first of all, those are our milestones. And we will only have 4 on one slide of paper. And we always have 3 months' time to fulfill those milestones. That's the meaning of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And then we have those 9 fields we can plug in some information like define something or process something in terms of you have to do something. And you always have 30 days to do this. And sometimes I got asked from colleagues, well, I have a lot more to do than only 9 fields I can fill in. And the usually answer I give to him is, well, then your project is too complex. You need another roadmap. Reduce complexity within projects. Because data quality projects is not projects in terms of we want to build a bridge. We want to build a tunnel. We want to launch to Mars. If you want to build a bridge, use project. MS project or something else. But if you have a data quality project, which usually is a project on top of your other work, it makes a lot of sense to use a methodology like those roadmaps. It's very easy. It says define responsibilities. You have 30 days to do that. Well, you might finish that the next day. It's okay. But you have to finish it at the end of, or at this time, in this example, it's March 21st. It may be the end of a month, whatever. You have 30 days time to do this. We came up to this solution due to a little story. What's the name of the highway here in Rio? The most. Yeah? Highway to Rio, São Paulo. Okay. It's mostly crowded usually. Yeah. The ruta is mostly crowded. A lot of traffic. Perfect. So, how fast you can drive here in Brazil? Allowed to drive? Huh? 100? 120? Okay, so assume the following thing. First of all, if you want to make a change, no beer yet. If you want to make a change within your car, you drive your car to a garage. The mechanic is fixing the problem, and so it usually costs you some money, but if everything is done well, you're happy. This happens in a way of you're driving your car to a garage, you stop the engine, the mechanic is doing the work, the mechanic is doing the change. Then you start the engine again, you pay your bill, you may be happy, you may be not, you drive away and the car is fixed. We try to apply the same kind of thinking to a company. But a company is not a car. You cannot stop a company to make a change. It will still run all the way. Even if you're doing some change projects, it still runs. So whatever you plan within your planning tools, you usually do not get the result you've planned. You get the reaction of this organism to the things you are planning. You plan that Masada will come very early in the morning. He maybe is coming earlier. He may be not. But your plan says, well, he has to come early. Due to that, something else is happening. If he's not coming early, well, your whole plan is going to hell. He's not an engine. He's a human. Company is made out of humans. It's not engines you can stop to make a change. So assuming this picture to the car again, let's say you are driving your company on the router. It's an old company, it's an old car. You are driving 140, which is not allowed. And your boss is sitting next to him and saying, well, you are slow today. I can feel the competition. You have to speed up. So he's speeding on the router, 160, 180. The car is shaking. At that moment, the finance director says, well, our plan says that we have to change the tires within the next minutes. I say, wow, great. Make a stop, make a break, change the tires, get a coffee. I say, well, you want to stop for changing the tires? You want to have us, the competitors, get over us? Get in front of us? You can't stop the car for changing the tires. So at the end of the story, you are making the company running 160 on the router and changing the tires same time. And that doesn't work. And everyone will see that this is not working. So we invented this, saying, well, doesn't make sense to plan everything. Probably makes more sense to say, well, that's the big plan. That's the milestones. Find the current state, improve the entry quality, make the accounting quality better, and get a similar understanding, that case of a project. And then we plan, because you see here everything is filled out, more or less. In the original project plan, only this one was filled out in the beginning. So we only plan a quarter, nothing more. And at the end of a quarter, last 2 weeks, we plan the next one. The nice thing is, due to the MS Project example, there's no line 1,000 or 2,000x changing, and makes me to spend the whole weekend to get some, interpretations of that to bring it up to the steering committee. Why has this line changed? So a lot more weekends for beer, for example, which is a lot more fun. And it also got a lot more responsibility to the guys who are responsible to do the jobs within here. Because no one is telling them, you have to walk out of this door, take a left, do this, do that, do that. It only says, well, define the responsibilities. I don't care how you do it, but within 30 days you have to finish this job. And that's the reason why we set up those roadmaps to do it. This is a picture of a business process, just to give you an impression. And this is the plan. We are working a 7-step method. We question our customers. We analyze the business processes. We determine together whose users are involved. We questionnaire the involved users again. We determine some metrics. We measure and analyze. And we questionnaire again. And then it all starts again with 1. So this is a cycle of steps. This is our questionnaire. It's fairly easy. It's a very expensive tool. It's called Excel. It's usually available in a company. And so what we are doing is, well, we are asking questions like, is accuracy more or less important than objectivity? You remember those dimensions? They're all in here. Then we got a ranking due to cross-added values. This is a common methodology from quality function deployment you can apply here. So in this case, we picked the highest numbers, 28, timeliness. Wow. Next one, completeness. Next one, ease of understanding, and so on. Because everyone has a different attitude to data quality. You have a different meaning of data quality than he has. And it's even different due to different data you are using. So what we want to get here is, what are your feelings about data quality? What are you look for? And to make it easy, in our examples, we only take 5 dimensions. No one can take care of all in once. It's too much. So we are looking for the first 5, and then we go on. Maybe next year we are looking for other 5, but we need to start somewhere. We plot them to get an idea about, is the company having the same attitude to data quality, more or less. So what we see here is like a wave. It's more or less a wave. It's not totally different. Those are the original numbers. And then we start again. We say, well, B was boss, sales, production, IT, HR, accounting, customer. So the boss says accuracy is one of his favorites, but it's the last one. The most important one for him is ease of understanding, 5 points. The next one is amount of information, 4 points. Relevancy, 3 points, and so on. And we're doing this with all the departments. And it's just the average we are looking at. It's very simple. Get the feeling of the company. When we set up this table, we find out two important things. You see those yellow lines here? That's the lines with the biggest values as a cross-added value again. Timeliness, relevancy, accuracy. What you also see here is, well, IT department don't care about relevancy and timeliness. Boss don't take care about timeliness. That was surprising because he usually was telling us timeliness is something he was looking at. But the questionnaire showed it wasn't timeliness, it was something else. Sales, timeliness, no way, but other things. Production, relevancy, and so on. And then we defined that those 3 yellow highlighted rows are mandatory for everyone, regardless if you're looking at or not, because those 3 are the most important for the whole organization. And the organization is an organism. Then we are looking at the processes. So we are asking selling, going to sales and ask them for the most important processes. And whenever you ask someone for the most important processes, you got a whole bunch of processes. Because everything is important. So in terms of reducing complexity, you have to tell them something like, well, I only want to have 3. Because 3 things I can remember. You know the story about managers? Where you can, well, what's the easiest way to find out who's a manager? Ask him to raise his hand. A usual employee can remember 5 things. A manager can only remember 3 things, so he usually lost 2 fingers. So if he raises his hand and 3 fingers, must be a manager. So reduce complexity. That's really important. So sales plan was one of the things, acquisition contracts. Then you are going to a workshop with them. Invite them for a workshop. And I like workshops without any computers, even if I'm one of the head of the computer departments. But I don't like the computers within a workshop. I don't like Blackberries as well within a workshop, because I want to have the people work instead of playing their tools. So you have to invest a lot of money in very high sophisticated tools like brown paper, Post-its, pencils. And then you start asking them, I want to have you within the workshop with all the information you need to do your job. And there are no PCs allowed, so make a printout. Typically, the answer is, this is so much, I cannot make a printout. This is tons of paper. Typically, the answer is, I don't have to carry them. You have to carry the paper. You are coming to the workshop. There's no one helping you carrying the paper. It sounds funny, but it's reducing complexity again. No one will show up to a workshop with a huge trunk of papers. They all show up to the workshop with a couple of papers. So they have already thought in their offices about, what do I really need? And within those workshops, the next question is, highlight the most important information, the most important data on your printouts. So you need the next very expensive tool. 2 colors, red and yellow, highlighters. So you can highlight those, you know. And what you find out is you have to make a copy of the first 3 slides. The first three papers, they have to highlight. You have to make a copy of that before you start the workshop. Because what usually happens is they highlight everything. And they start reducing highlighting data on those printouts within the 4th or 5th paper they go through. So you better make some copies of the first 3 ones. Because when they finish all the papers, you hand over them the first 3 ones, make those again. And then you've got everything. You've got what they think about, what's relevant for them in terms of the dimensions, and you've got the data highlighted on the printouts. So now the last important question starts. Well, you highlighted this number here. What does relevancy means to you? Due to this number. What does objectivity means to you? What does timeliness means to you? Is it every Friday before noon to get the report done? Is it every day? Is it every 3 seconds? Is reputation probably something like, well, if this number fits to another number from another system, I can trust it. Okay, this is something you can measure. This is something you can set up rules. You can set up even some batch programs to check those numbers. But now we are talking about real things. We are not talking about feelings in terms of, I want to have it all right, complete, and always. That means nothing. You cannot measure it. You cannot manage it. And then you start providing something as an additional value-added content to a report. Someone wants to have a report like a boss. He has some requirements to a report. Well, requirements like those ones here. You want to have the sales report on time. You want to have 5 clients on it, the major 5 clients on it. You don't want to have any difference between 2 databases. That's what you want to have. So you can measure it. Whenever you provide those computed reports, you can measure his requirements. In this case, the report was too late. There were only 4 main clients instead of 5, and there was a difference between 2 databases. Well, this is, what's 4th grade math? So you can tell him, well, the report I provide to you is worth around 77%. due to your expectations. We started this, it changed everything. Managers now are not arguing in terms of, I don't believe you. They were asking, why only 77%? Why only 20? On my first view, I thought this is garbage, but, well, at least you told me it's garbage. Before, you never told me. And that makes the difference. You're now starting to really talk about the problems. You can tell, well, it's only 4 instead of 5 because there must be a reason. There must be a reason for the difference. Well, there's no reason for this. Too late is too late. But for all others, there are reasons you can talk about. And that's the difference between, I don't trust you, I don't like you, you are too expensive, you are the IT department, well, you are core of evil, because you cost a lot of money and you provide nothing. That's changed everything. And then you can combine those processes and measurements to even a single number of data quality. You have to be careful with that. If someone here is from information systems or math, you will know this is garbage, the single number. But management want to have it. So you can think of, are you want to give them a 1 number? Or are you willing to argue with them all day? Why are you not providing 1 number? So in my terms, I provide 1 number, but I tell them how this number is calculated. So they can judge the number themselves. But they got their number. The 1 number they were looking for. Why are we doing all this? Because the whole business, the whole economics have changed dramatically. It's not a supplier A, supplier B thing anymore, where there is some kind of collaboration defined in terms of, I produce something, I hand it over, someone else is doing something, and then it's sold. Those days are gone. Today it looks like this. You are looking for companies and suppliers, you take a deep look into the processes, and you pick what you want to design a new product or service. So this is a totally different kind of economics within companies we have today than we had in the days before. It's totally different. It's not this supplier chain anymore. It's a combination of what processes you are best in. And there is one article. It's fairly old now. It's already 6 years old. I really would like you to read, if you have the time to do it. It's on Harvard Business Review in October 2002. And this is about the system and how it works for a big company, for Li and Fung. Probably no one here knows Li and Fung. But if you are wearing clothes from Betty Barclay, Levi's, or someone else, well, you are wearing clothes from them. This is the biggest clothes supplier in the world. And no one knows, because they are setting up their business as projects. They combine all these things in terms of they know what suppliers they need and whose processes they're using within their supplier network to set up products and services. And here's the numbers. 4 billion revenue with 4,000 employees. And those are the numbers from 2002, and they're still growing. When I show management those numbers, usually what they say is, I want to have it. Why don't we have it for our company? I say, well, you need to sign this project contract. Then we can have it in our company as well. Sign here for the data quality project. they have a return on equity more than 30%. In an industry, usually everyone is thinking of you cannot make money in clothing anymore. They lead a network for more than 7,500 suppliers. And when I read the article and when I got into this company, it's amazing. There's one rule they have, and that's the most interesting rule at all. Those suppliers are not slaves. And I was impressed because I thought, well, you know, typically set up 7,500 slaves working for someone else. This is not new. But within the network, every supplier is allowed to make business not more than 35% of his own business. If he's doing more business, he gets in trouble. So I was thinking, why? You know, it's not slaves, only 35% they are allowed to make business within the network. That doesn't make sense to typically economics. But the answer is fairly simple. Those two guys, Li and Fung, they say, if our suppliers make more business than 35% within the network, they don't think anymore. They don't invent anymore. They are not creative anymore. They are like, well, the network will supply my money. So they set up it in a totally different way. And now, those company is looking for other branches, like toys. Maybe some days it's banking or automotive or whatever, because the system is working and they make a lot of money with it. So typically, question you should ask yourself, or someone in a business has to ask himself, is, what do you want to be? You want to be a supplier, or you want to be a guy like those two? If you want to be a supplier, well, fair decision. Work and act as a supplier. If you want to lead a network, well, you probably have to make some changes within your company, or you're out of business. If you look for more information, you will find it at the homepage of MIT. There's a big research group, the MIT IQ for Information Quality. You also will find something here, but it's in German. It's our society, which is the biggest one outside of the US. And we're setting up other societies, like together with Antonio over here, Chile, Lima, Canada, all over, due to the experience we have in setting up societies where people are coming together, discussing, exchanging experience, writing books and articles together, and so on. And the German group meets since 5 years, every 6 weeks on a round table. And when we set it up that way, I thought, well, this system will die within a year. Meeting all 6 weeks will not work. It works. It really works. And it's a round table. It's open to everyone. Everyone can join up and discuss his problems he has in data quality within a company, a research project, or whatever. And even on holidays where I thought no one will show up on this day, they showed up. So it's amazing. And this is working in other countries as well. And we are trying to focus on Brazil and Chile and other countries in South America this way as well, because we have already good connections to Brazil and Chile in terms of data quality. There are a lot of researchers working together with us in the MIT research group or in the German society. Well, if you want to send me a mail, you are welcome to do. Send it in English, please. Portuguese will not help. And you may expect some time so I can answer it, because I got hundreds of mails. But I answer mails, but it may take some time. So if it's really urgent, you have to send it again and again and again just to penetrate. And then I say, yeah, this is really important. I have to answer it first. And I offer this to you. You can really do it. It's not a joke. Yeah, this is about the society. We have some things like we are on big fairs. We have a lot of internal meetings, discussions, conferences. And this year we have our 6th conference In Germany, we took over the MIT conference in 2003. We took it over to Europe. So whenever you want to see those things, you are welcome to show up. Questions?
Please.
Don't hesitate.
Eu nem precisei abrir. Okay.
You showed in one of your slides that despite accuracy, relevance, and timeliness are the three most important information quality dimensions. But when you look at the functional areas, they value dimensions differently.
Yeah.
How, first, what could be the cause of that? Second, how an IT guy can do to satisfy different internal customers who value different components of information quality?
So this is these you refer to these three: relevancy, timeliness, objectivity. Yeah. Okay. There are more than those three, but the slide doesn't have enough space to put them all in.
It was a slide before that.
Okay.
No, the other one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah? This is the basis, I need to know the most important dimensions the people are looking at. First step. So just to get an idea, what's the basic idea, what's the basic feeling about data quality in terms of the dimensions? And when I got those information, I can step into this here. This is important because now I'm asking for the data they are using. And when I got all the data and got all the highlighted data they are using, then I can ask them, and now I go back, say, well, you are sales, and you have marked those information on the printouts. What does accuracy means to this highlighted information? Huh? Does it mean, well, there are no errors within an address of a customer? Or does it mean there are no errors within the account number of a customer? Or does it mean there are no duplicates of a customer within the database? What does accuracy mean in terms of the highlighted information? Otherwise, if you skip those steps, then you will get into a discussion like, well, I have highlighted all the information I need, and now you are talking about, well, accuracy, timeliness, or what? Everyone has a different meaning. If you have told them before the questionnaire what you are defining accuracy, relevancy, and so on, you are talking about the same thing. Otherwise, he said, well, accuracy means to me something totally different than to you. Accuracy for me means, well, the number are accurate. And maybe someone else is saying, no, accuracy means the whole address is accurate. So you need to have a common sense of the dimensions, and then you can apply it to the highlighted information. And now you are talking about the same thing, and not about different interpretations of data quality. Because this is usually happen if you skip those steps, then everyone is talking about, yes, I told you I want to have it right now, I want to have it complete, I want to have it whatever. I want to have it sound. I want to have sound information. I want to have truly information. There's no truly or sound dimension. He maybe means something else.
Michael, from what I understood there, you just average the perceptions of all different stakeholders. But, of course, they all have different perceptions. You can see that one says 5. Do you, do you take that to their own consideration? No? Because that would be a way of, making the different stakeholders realize that
the stakeholders here are in branches like boss or management, sales, production, and so on. If you dig deeper, it gets too complicated. And the added value is too less.
Just that the perception that I have, and,
Yeah.
and I've been a developer
Yeah.
of systems in the past, is that you have difficulty pleasing everyone.
Yeah.
You either please the boss or the user
Yeah.
or the...
Yeah.
And if you average them up, I just feel that
Also,
at least that they should understand that different people
Yeah.
have different...
of course, I average them up in here. See? I average them up in here. And then I'm averaging up again. So I know, but I still have a better try by averaging them up instead of not averaging them up at all. Because we tried to really address everyone individually, can't manage. It's too much. And the added value was too less. It was not really making a lot more value by really individually taking care of everyone. At the end, it was easier to talk with them in terms of, well, you all think about accuracy as one of the important things, instead of, well, yeah, but it's a little less important or a little more important. You know, at the end, the basic line was the one who was the interesting thing, and it's a starting point. So it doesn't mean this one will be, crypted into granite. So it's something like, well, it starts all over again. So maybe next year something different. And then we have to apply and we have to change the systems, but we never change the systems at all. If you take a serious look on those, oh no, that was the wrong direction, sorry. Like here. Well, a previous sales report should be timely. Hey, that's a timestamp. So in terms of design, it's fairly easy. It means gather as much metadata as you can. Use your log files. We never will set up something really complicated to measure some of the dimensions. It doesn't make sense. Because this one may be changed within next year. And then we've got a lot of work to change the whole system. So we're using things that are available, like log files, timestamps. Okay?
Please, do you see any relation between information quality and risk management?
Yeah, of course. You cannot do risk management without data quality, and data quality joined with risk management, it's a lot easier to sell. Because the management has to provide the budgets for the projects. And if you can show them that there is a lot of business risk involved, and this business risk costs money, it's a lot easier. And risk management, of course, cannot calculate the proper risks without the proper data. It's a simple thing. We all know it's garbage in, garbage out. But we are using so much information today, and it's getting every day. It's got more, so it becomes more and more uncertain. What are you using for your analysis? Can you really trust the results? And that's the basic question here.
Unfortunately, we have on time.
Okay.
Because our lunch is 11:30. Well, thank you for everything, Professor Michael, and thank you for you too. Okay.